Better Call Saul Season 6 Episode 6 has just released on Netflix and AMC, and we get an episode that again teases what's to come in the mid-season finale. The focus this week is on a flashback scene with Kim as a child, her and Jimmy's D-Day plan, and the anxiety from other characters such as Mike and Howard. In this spoiler review, I'm going to be giving you my recap of Better Call Saul Season 6 Episode 6, entitled Axe and Grind, alongside discussing my general thoughts on it. But before I get into it, if you want to see more videos on the final season of Better Call Saul, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your notifications. Also, feel free to check me out on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Instagram at Cortex Videos, which is all linked in the description below. But without further ado, let's dive into my recap and review for Better Call Saul Season 6 Episode 6. So the 6th episode of Better Call Saul's final season opens with yet another flash to a different time, and this one is our second with a young Kim Wexler. The cold opening gives us a flashback to a young Kim and her mother. Last season we got one with a teenage Kim who was waiting outside her school in Nebraska, and her mother turned up hours late in a drunken state, with it resulting in Kim not getting in the car. We learnt that she would rather make a long walk home than do what her mother says, and it really gave us a glimpse into why Kim might be the way she is today. Well, in this new cold open, we get a little bit more information on why Kim is embarking down Bad Choice Road and how it stems from an early age. Young Kim is in a department store where the manager has caught her trying to steal a necklace and a pair of earrings, and it's here that her mother comes in, looking identical to Ray Seahorn, acting disappointed in her daughter and saying she won't let it happen again. Young Kim just takes in the fake anger and affirms that she won't do it again. But as soon as they come outside, it's not long before Kim's mother starts laughing and reveals that she stole the necklace and gives it to her. She says to her that she didn't know she had it in her, and this is a perfect scene to show how Kim is the kind of character that we didn't expect to turn out the way she has. But in a way, using her past frames has shown why she perhaps becomes this way and aligns herself even more with Jimmy. As the daughter of a single mother, one that seemed to be fueling the person she's become, and someone who has moved from one home to another, it makes sense why she would be doing the things she is now doing and trying to support the little guy like Jimmy is. Now we clearly know why, as Jimmy McGill's wife, she proposed to him after being on the back end of one of his scams against her own client. And it's clear that come the current point in this season, that Kim has not moved away from the commitment to taking down Howard and putting an end to the Sandpiper lawsuit. She clearly is up to the task, and with an ingrained history of getting away with things praised by her own mother, it seems to us that Kim's childhood is what has made her empathetic to the people she sides with, and it reveals why she might be attracted to Jimmy and his cons. It's a standout moment, and I think it will turn out to be a crucial one for however Kim ends up in the show and the message that they ultimately convey with her character. But before we get back to current times with the evolving plan of Kim and Jimmy, we do get a brief few scenes with other characters that are really feeling the heat, and I think even the viewer feels quite sympathetic towards them. After the opening credits, we're back in Albuquerque during the present Better Call Saul timeline, and for the first time, we're inside Howard Hamlin's home, where the lawyer is trying to decide what to wear. All his clothes are perfectly organized, and after he decides which blue shirt to wear, he takes on the long process of making the perfect latte and finishing it off with a symbol of peace using lots of milk. It's at this point where we actually see Howard's wife, who clearly isn't sleeping with him at the house, and Howard says that the latte is for her. We get a sense of their shaky relationship, with his wife thanking him for the latte in the smallest of ways possible, and then pouring it out into her travel mug without a word towards the peace sign he spent long to make. It again shows us that at heart, Howard is someone who really spends his time trying to meticulously perfect and be the best he can be, even after problems, yet it seems he's always on the back end. During their brief conversation in this scene, Howard also speaks about Jimmy and tells his wife that she may hear or see something connected to his cons. He reaffirms that he's handling it, and back at the office, the private detective he hired goes over Jimmy's recent activities, and we discover that he made a visit to a bank and withdrew $20,000 in cash. So Howard knows that Jimmy is up to something, and like us, we don't quite know all of the details. But again, it's two scenes that really reframe the idea of not wanting bad things to happen to Howard, but they do seem inevitable. And I will return to that greater plan of Jimmy and Kim after we recap some of the other smaller scenes and characters in this particular episode. These involve a few brief moments with that of Lalo Salamanca and Mike Ehrmantraut. Lalo is of course still out there in search of information about Gus Fring's hit operation and comes across the person he's been after. Kai, the German worker who previously called Werner Ziegler weak, is seen chopping wood in a forest when Lalo appears, chases him down, and after getting an axe to the chest, he finds a way to gain the upper hand in the fight and asks the engineer to tell him everything he needs to know. We get nothing else with Lalo, but it's clear to us that this man is going to tell him exactly what he needs to know about Gus, and that very soon he'll be on his way to confront the Chicken Man alongside Mike and his team. And this leads us to possibly the most impactful moment of this episode, which involves us learning about how Gus and Mike's anxiety surrounding Lalo impacts their relationships. In particular, we focus on Mike's relationship with his own family, as the hitman must watch his granddaughter play with her new telescope from a distance without her knowing he's just across the road, just to ensure that the operation won't come back to bite his own family. Mike seems worried when he tells her that he'll be calling the next day, and the framing of this scene is extremely telling towards what happens to Mike's family in Breaking Bad. She is just across the road, yet out of his reach, and Mike continuously worries for their safety and stability with everything he's got into. It will be really interesting to see how they end Mike's arc in this show, but right now, I think he's the one character from Better Call Saul that I think they've done better here than in Breaking Bad. They make you really connect to how he feels surrounding the protection of his family and frame why he makes the choices he does in Breaking Bad. Think about the Nacho situation and how maybe that affects him when he ultimately comes in contact with Jesse Pinkman. It's the little things and moments like the one in this episode that invest you even more so in the emotional qualities to his arc. And this leads us straight back to the main chunk of episode 6, which surrounds Jimmy and Kim. They have begun the final step of their D-Day plan, and while the details are still quite mysterious, we're starting to see the greater hints of the things at play. Whether that be the photo shoot with an actor dressed to look like the Sandpiper judge Casimiro, or a late night visit to Dr. Caldera involving Jimmy taking a mysterious substance that won't show up on a blood test and makes his pupils a lot wider. Caldera tells them that he's leaving, and in his black book we see the hint of a vacuum cleaner repair shop. This will likely be a huge hint for what's to come, and I wouldn't be surprised if we got a brief scene with Robert Forster down the line before he of course passed away. But it's a cool Easter egg, and we won't really know if that comes into the frame until we see the later episodes. But while Jimmy is shocked that Caldera is leaving because of all the money he's making, Caldera knows that this kind of lifestyle is one that is not a happy one, and that getting away with things affects the outcome. Kim sees to this, and it's over her arc in this episode that we get possibly the final straw in her decision to go back down that path. After watching a trial and following his concerns with Howard, Clifford Main offers Kim a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a presentation in Santa Fe, to help her career during the same day that the final stage of Howard's con is due to take place. Jimmy says that she doesn't have to be with him during the con, and as they spend a final moment together toasting outside of HMM, it seems like everything is going to plan. But with just a small period of time to go before before the plan kicks into motion, and Kim driving in the direction of Santa Fe and her good future, Jimmy is in the process of buying a bottle of Zafiro Anejo, and things start to go wrong. He sees the real Casimiro waiting in line, and while he has the mustache that they perfectly recreated with their impersonator, he notices that he's also got a broken arm. Jimmy freaks out, calls Kim, and tries to pull the plug on the con, and this could have been the moment where Kim finds a way out of a plan that's way too risky. She could have kept driving, but instead, she makes a fast turn down a long road and heads straight back to Jimmy. She says to him, "It happens today," and heads back, speeding down potentially bad choice road. So next week's mid-season finale will likely answer many of the questions surrounding their final plan, and we'll see exactly what Kim has just given up in this big opportunity she had. Maybe if her childhood was better, she might have continued down the path to better things, but again, she turns around and heads straight back to Jimmy. I think what this tells us is that this was really Kim's last opportunity at getting a dream job, but by using this road to symbolize her coming straight back to the final steps of the con, it tells us that her downfall is inevitable. I think the aftermath of this, whether it's successful or not, will come back to haunt Kim's status as a lawyer, but we will soon truly see what her and Jimmy have planned in the takedown of Howard. So what were my general thoughts of episode 6? Well, it's an episode that again continues this build up to whatever D-Day turns out to be, and don't get me wrong, while I do think there could have been more plot development towards Jimmy and Kim's plan in terms of what they are actually doing, if next week does have the huge payoff, then it will be all worth it. We still know so little about what the plan is, and it's hard to really invest in moments to do with their plan when we don't know how it fits into whatever the outcome is. Like with Jimmy discovering that the real Casimiro has a broken arm, and the 20 grand that Howard mentioned earlier on in the episode. The plot did feel like it was moving a lot slower, but again, because the character moments are continuously written so well, I think it will mean that the payoff will be solid. We are so invested in the motives of each of the characters, and when the potential events take place next week, it will hopefully be really effective. Overall, we learn that because of Francesca's help, Jimmy has to call in information for a conference call with Sandpiper, that his filming crew are shooting a Casimiro impersonator, and that Dr. Caladera has helped Jimmy dilate his pupils. And while Kim Wexler got a perfect meeting with the Jackson Mercer Foundation, she still ends up taking Bad Choice Road in the aim to take Howard down and help Jimmy. And with all the further tension surrounding Gus, Mike, and Lalo, next week's mid-season finale has to really deliver on a lot of set-up plot points and increase the overall pacing that has been slower in the previous 2 episodes. As I said, I think it's going to be worth it, and Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould know how to write television that fully pays off. We will have to wait until next week, but hopefully it will be an episode that delivers on it all and ups the ante. But that was my spoiler review and recap for Better Call Saul Season 6, Episode 6. Axe and Grind is slower and more mysterious, but it stays on target when it comes to delivering a satisfying mid-season finale. It focuses on the last moments with these characters before they all presumably come together and everything goes down. Will they answer the other questions like that of Mike warning Kim about Lalo, and Lalo himself making a fatal move, or will it simply focus on the revealing plan of Jimmy and Kim in taking down Howard? I honestly don't know, but I think a lot will happen, and based on this episode, it clearly won't be very happy for the characters we care about or have stayed with throughout the seasons. It's likely going to be eventful, and let's hope it really raises the stakes for the second part of Season 6, which returns this July. I'm giving Season 6, Episode 6 of Better Call Saul a rating of 8.5 out of 10. But to those who have already seen the episode, what are your thoughts on all the events that went down, and what do you think will happen in the mid-season finale next week? Let me know down below in the comment section. For videos on every episode of Better Call Saul Season 6, including my trailer breakdown for Episode 7 coming tomorrow, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.